What is going on, everyone? Welcome back to TTP Sports, and the Phillies win their fourth straight game as they beat the Washington Nationals tonight by a score of 7-4, and oddly enough, this is their fifth game in a row where they scored exactly 7 runs. Very odd stat, but it does showcase that the offense is starting to wake up a little bit, which is a nice thing, even though in today's ball game, Zach Wheeler definitely did not have his best stuff. And it's clearly showcasing that in his, I would say, his past 3-4 starts that he really has been showing signs of fatigue, which is not a good thing going into the final month of the season. But thankfully, the offense actually did score runs for him in this ballgame, which is a good sign. But still, Zach Wheeler just, I don't know, he had trouble with command, location, he just didn't have it. He just didn't have his best stuff. He still went 6 innings in this ballgame, surprisingly. He does get the win, but he just didn't have his best stuff, and he really hasn't been Zach Wheeler as of late in his past 3-4 starts, really ever since that complete game shutout that he had against the Mets in the beginning of the month. Zach Wheeler has been really struggling, and hopefully he figures it out for the last month because this team is definitely going to need it. But they got the win today, and hopefully he can bounce back again, because even though we've been saying that for the past couple of times, it's starting to worry me a little bit with Zach Wheeler, that he is starting to get fatigued. Maybe the usage with him in so many innings, it's starting to get to him. He's not used to it. Right now it's tough to see with Zach Wheeler struggling, but hopefully he does find a way to get out of this funk that he's in, because this team is definitely going to need it down the stretch. But the offense really stepped up tonight in tonight's ball game, starting off very early. Guys like Bryce Harper, Brad Miller in this ball game too, going 5 for 5. Starts in the first inning. Bryce Harper and Odubel Herrera. Odubel leads off the game with an infield single, then Bryce Harper with a moonshot into the bullpen, making it an early 2-0 Phillies lead. Phillies get some more base runners, and eventually is Freddie Galvis getting into a force out, which causes a run to score, making it a 3-0 Phillies game. But then the Nationals, they start to get some runners on base, and it turns into an RBI single by Lane Thomas, making it a 3-1 ball game. Then eventually, there was a double play that was originally called, but it was eventually changed due to replay, so it was just an out at second base, safe at first, and it turned into an RBI for the Nationals, making it a 3-2 ball game. Phillies get some more base runners. You got Ronald Torreyes with the bases loaded. Almost at the grand slam, actually. Almost. Very close. The outfielder, he just couldn't see where the ball was. Goes off the wall. It kicks off his foot. Goes into the other part of left field. And Ronald Torreyes gets the triple out of it, which clears the bases, making it a 6-2 ball game. Offense is really woken up there. But then third inning, Nationals respond with 1 run, and it's Carter Kieboom getting a solo shot. That's his 3rd home run off of the Phillies this year, which I guess he's turning into a Phillies killer. No doubt. He is one of the top Nationals prospects who's been called up for this team, and he has been really, he loves to hit against the Phillies, which is, a good sign, I guess. You can't go, every team in the National League, I guess, can't go without their Philly killer. So I guess Carter Kieboom is turning into that, but it was also a pitch left right down the middle by Zach Wheeler. So anyone, I guess, can crush that ball, but still, it's Carter Kieboom, and he's really crushing the Phillies, and I don't like it. I just don't like it. But then Brad Miller responds a couple of innings later. Pitch, I don't know how he hit this ball. It was like outside of the plate, drove this ball to right center field into the stands, makes it a 7-3 ball game. Go bottom 5. Couple of base runners get on, eventually advances to third base. Zach Wheeler throws a wild pitch past Rafael Marchand, but allows that run to score. And I feel like it was a weird play too, but I do feel like Rafael Marchand needs to make a better attempt at blocking that ball. Even though it bounced off the ground, it went in between his chest and his arm, and it went to the back wall. So, yeah, it's definitely a tough play to predict that happening, but I feel like because you have an inexperienced catcher behind the plate, and that's definitely going to come into a factor at some point because you don't have JT Realmuto, who's going to be day-to-day with his shoulder situation, and also he tweaked his ankle in yesterday afternoon's ballgame as well, and then you don't have Andrew Knapp, who's on the COVID list, and it's probably not going to be available probably for another at least 7 days, so you're stuck. And you really don't have a backup catcher until JT is ready to play again. So basically, you're relying on your backup catcher to who? Be Ronald Torreyes or Brad Miller possibly, or who knows? You really don't have another backup catcher to utilize for this ball club until JT comes back. So inexperience is definitely going to come into a play. But then the bullpen comes in. Connor Brogdon, he comes into the 7th inning. Very solid job. Only pitched 5 pitches. Well, threw 5 pitches, pitched 5 pitches. That sounds, I don't know what I'm saying. Just ignore me at this point. But then you go into the bottom of the 8th inning. And this is where, the bullpen kind of gets iffy. Josh Bell gets a single. And then Connor Brogdon eventually does get the first out. But then you get Keibert Ruiz getting a single. So you got 2 runners on. And then eventually Archie Bradley comes into this ballgame. It was going to be a tough situation regardless. 2 runners on, the tying run coming to the plate in Carter Kieboom, but Archie Bradley gets to strike out a Kieboom, and then he gets the next player out in Luis Garcia to get the 3rd out of the inning, and he escapes that jam with no harm done. Go to the bottom of the 9th inning. For some reason, Jose Alvarado comes in to close this ballgame. I'm not sure why, because Ian Kennedy yesterday, he really didn't pitch that much in his save, and really was solid. Didn't pitch that many pitches, so I don't know why he wasn't available for today's ball game. And Hector Neris, I can understand why he's not available because he pitched 3 days in a row. So I can understand why Joe Girardi wants to give him rest, but it's just like it didn't start off good with Jose Alvarado because Ryan Zimmerman started off with a double, then he walked Lane Thomas, and then you get that occasional trip to the mound. Pitching coach sees Alvarado, tries to get him out of his funk, and for some reason this always works with him. He always starts off sluggish at some points. Well, on the occasion he starts off sluggish, allows a couple of base runners, pitching coach comes out, speaks to him, tries to get him a little bit calmed down, and then gets the next 3 outs. Riley Adams strikes out, Juan Soto grounds into a force out, and then Josh Bell strikes out. So, yeah, I guess it worked. I guess you can say it worked in that standpoint. So the Phillies win this ball game by a score of 7-4. Look at the box score for today's ball game. Zach Wheeler, like I said, he goes to 11-9 on the season. Definitely did not have his best stuff on the mound tonight. He goes 6 innings, 5 hits allowed, 4 earned runs, 4 walks, 4 strikeouts, and a home run allowed, and his ERA has jumped to 3.01. And imagine just going back to his complete game shutout. His ERA was like, what, in between the 220s and the 240s. Just in his past 3-4 starts, just seeing his ERA climb that much. That's how struggleish he's been in the past couple of starts, and it's he needs to find a way to snap out of it if this team is going to try to do something this month. Even though, like I've said many times, my hopes are still as low as this basement can go, but still they're going to be within this thing for the entire rest of the way because the division. And the Braves, they have a tough couple of series coming up. Even though they played really good against the Giants and they won that series, they're playing against the Los Angeles Dodgers in LA. And I think their first game is tonight, probably starting around now. So, yeah, it's going to be a tough stretch for the Braves for this short stint. So the Phillies need to take advantage where it comes, especially this week coming up. So for the rest of the pitchers, Connor Brogdon, he pitches an inning and a third, 2 hits allowed. Nothing damage done to him. Archie Bradley, he gets the last 2 outs of the 9th inning. He gets a strikeout in that situation. And Jose Alvarado, he gets the save. He pitches the full 9th, allows 1 hit, 1 walk, and strikes out 2. Go to the lineup. Odubel Herrera, he goes 2 for 4 with a run scored. Gene Segura, very quiet in the batter's box tonight. He goes 0 for 5. Bryce Harper, he goes 2 for 5 with 2 RBIs with the 2-run bomb in that first inning. Andrew McCutchen, he goes 0 for 3. He eventually does come out of this ball game. And I feel like it's a couple of players did come out of this ball game, him and Travis Jankowski. I think McCutchen, he had a situation where he almost got hit in the head and he had to duck out of cover, and the trainer eventually came out to check on him. So I'm not sure if it has to deal with that situation. For Travis Jankowski, he fouled the ball off his ankle, and he definitely appeared very a lot in pain, and then he eventually got taken out that next half inning. So hopefully, we're not getting into the injury bug at this point. We have a lot of players. We don't have a bench at this point with all these players going down. So, yeah, hopefully that's not the case. Brad Miller, he goes 3 for 3 in this ball game. Well, even though the broadcast said he went 5 for 5, he went 3 for 3 with 2 runs scored, 1 RBI, and 2 walks. So, technically, he went perfect in all 5 of his plate appearances, and walks don't count towards your at-bats. Freddie Galvis, he goes 0 for 4 with a run scored, an RBI, and a walk. Ronald Torreyes, he goes 2 for 4 with 3 RBIs, and Marchand, he goes 1 for 4. Also, Zach Wheeler, he goes 0 for 3 in this ballgame. In terms of runners in scoring position, the Phillies really didn't have that many chances. They were 1 for 4 with runners in scoring position, and they left 8 people stranded on base. And I guess that big runner in scoring position situation was the bases clearing double by Ronald Torreyes. So yeah, the Phillies really didn't have that many chances with runners in scoring position. So you got the two home runs by Harper and Brad Miller. Then you get that big situation with Ronald Torreyes getting all those runs, and also the ground out by Freddie Galvis. So yeah, not that many chances, but hey, the offense scored when they got their chances, and I think that's what's most important. Looking at the rest of this series, you're going to have Patrick Corbin for the Nationals tomorrow going up against Matt Moore for the Phillies. Yeah, lefty on lefty matchup, and definitely not favorable to the Phillies, but we got to go and win that ballgame. And then you're going to have Aaron Nola on Wednesday night going up against Espino. Hopefully, Aaron Nola can find a way to win that ballgame, and also the offense as well. We definitely need to win this series. I know this is going to be an important stretch because you put yourself in a tough situation to begin with, so I think you're at the point where you're saying sweep might be mandatory against a team like the Nationals, but knowing this team, can you accept 2 out of 3? Because when you're going on this schedule coming up, you got these next 2 games against the Nationals. You'll be off on Thursday, and then you'll have a 3-game weekend set against the Miami Marlins, the last place team in the National League East. And then you're going to have a very tough series next week in Milwaukee as you take on the Brewers for 3 games. So are these 2 series upcoming? Are 5 wins mandatory at least in these first 2 series? Sweep one of these teams and probably try to win, hopefully try to win 5 games at least against these 2 ball clubs, the Nats and the Marlins, and then I guess do what you can against the Brewers because you put yourself in a tough situation. I have no idea. But it's the Phillies ballpark at this point. They control their own destiny. That's all I'm going to say. I feel like that's what's going to come down to everything. They control their own destiny. If we look at the standings, the Phillies, they're still in second place. They're 3 games above 500, 67 and 64. 4 games behind the Atlanta Braves, who are in first place. They are 70 and 59. And you got the New York Mets, who continue to crumble. They are 63 and 67, even though they've won 2 in a row. I feel like the Mets, what Javier Baez said. Not going to get into that. I think that's just as embarrassing as ever. That's where I'm going to leave it. They are 63 and 67, 7.5 games behind the Atlanta Braves. They're also 3.5 games behind the Philadelphia Phillies. And if we look at the wild card, because I feel like the Phillies are catching up there as well. Yes, the Phillies are 3 games back of that second wild card spot, and they're behind 3 different teams. They're behind the St. Louis Cardinals, the San Diego Padres, and the Cincinnati Reds, who still control that second wild card spot. And I want to look at the scores right now, because I know the Braves and the Dodgers, they're playing currently. That's some help. The Dodgers are currently beating the Braves by a score of 5-0 in the top of the 4th inning. That's good. That is really good. Go Dodgers. We could definitely use that. So, I think that's where I'm going to leave it off. Because that, bright side. Leave it off on the bright side. So you have a really important next 2 games coming up against this Washington Nationals ball club. Matt Moore on the mound. Nothing guaranteed. Offense definitely has to wake up. Well, I wouldn't say wake up, but just continue doing what you're doing. I know it's going to be tough because basically everyone in your lineup is getting injured. So definitely not the best time for that. But continue doing what you're doing. That's all I'm going to say. Try to sweep this series. You've done it before a couple of weeks ago against the Nationals. Try to do it again. That's all I'm going to say. So, what are your thoughts on this video, everyone? What are your thoughts on this Phillies game? Zach Wheeler's performance, the offense, Bryce Harper, Brad Miller, everything. I want to hear your thoughts and comments and opinions down below. Do not forget to leave those down there. Also, don't forget to drop a like on this video. Don't forget to check out the Painted Lines, which I'm a part of. Their links are down in the description below. And also, don't forget to check out the links to Broads Media, the Flyer Pod merch website, and also Flyers Nitty Gritty. All that good stuff is down in the description below. Do not forget to check those out. And the most important thing you can do is hit that subscribe button. I will greatly appreciate that. And I will see you next time.